Welcome to the College of Communications News for Tuesday, April 13th, 2010. We'll have the complete weather forecast in a few moments. I'm Robbie Capo. Today, 47 nations are gathering in Washington at a historic nuclear conference to discuss ways to avoid nuclear conflict. President Obama says nuclear danger is on the rise and world leaders should reach beyond traditional means of avoiding nuclear conflict. Decades after the end of the Cold War, challenges facing nuclear weapons are different. In earlier years, world leaders and smaller nuclear nations could meet and work out limits on nuclear weapons on their own. Penn State professor Scott Bennett is an expert in international conflict and wars. He says more issues need to be taken in account today.
Now there are a lot more issues of nuclear material being transported across national borders, a lot more countries with nuclear power plants that can produce nuclear fuel, a lot more countries seeking to obtain nuclear weapons.
President Obama organized the nuclear summit to win agreement on a plan for securing all vulnerable nuclear materials worldwide within 4 years. Nations like North Korea and Syria, who are suspected to be harboring nuclear weapons ambitions, were not invited. Middle Eastern nations have received the most attention, but Bennett says that nations with leaders who are unwilling to cooperate should be the bigger fear.
I think the fear is of rogue states, wherever they might be, or terrorist groups, or and even very small groups, almost down to the level of an individual. Iran is one concern, but they're not the only ones.
Associated Press is reporting that there are a few signs of dissent among summit participants. A western Pennsylvania man has been charged today with unsuccessfully trying to lure a 14-year-old girl into his pickup truck. The incident happened outside a mall department store north of Pittsburgh on April 4th. Surveillance video led police to charge 40-year-old Todd Kraft, who was identified along Route 8 in Richland Township. Kraft is awaiting arraignment on charges of attempted kidnapping and luring a child into a vehicle. Meanwhile, in Harrisburg, state police have issued a search warrant for the suspect in a hit-and-run accident happening 10 minutes before a triple fatal involving the same driver. A witness claims the same suspect sped off after rear-ending her vehicle. Investigators say the woman then crashed her car, killing her 3 grandchildren. The warrant seeks the vehicle's electronic date collection device and any other evidence to indicate she was intoxicated or impaired. An investigative team is being put together today in hopes of determining what caused a Navy plane to crash in Georgia. The Florida-based T-39N Saberliner went down Monday afternoon in dense woods 2 hours north of Atlanta, just missing a house. Fuel from the plane also ignited a small brush fire that burned 10 to 15 acres. Searchers located the bodies of 3 aviators but are still looking for a 4th. Authorities are not yet releasing the victims' names. Well, it's that time of year again when everyone's federal, local, and state taxes are due. With April 15th being just 2 days away, reporter Kayla Blakesley takes a closer look at the ranging views that taxpayers have this year.
Most individuals face different challenges when it comes to tax season. And this year, many people have dramatically different feelings about tax day. Small business owner Art Zazato says he dreads the year-long preparations for tax season.
I absolutely hate tax season because all year long I've had to save my money as a self-employed carpet installer. I have to set money aside to pay my taxes.
Zazato also says there's no looking forward to a big refund like most taxpayers.
I never get a refund. If I do, it's just a dinky little bit, and I get it credited towards next year's taxes and just basically survive.
Meanwhile, one laid-off worker, Christy Huntsberger, has already received her tax return and is putting it in a safe place.
I did receive it, and due to the fact that I am unemployed, I have right now put it into a savings account, and I'm hoping to just keep it there, but depending on how much longer my unemployment is going to last, if it still doesn't run out, I'm okay.
For those procrastinators that won't have it together by Thursday, there is still the option of an extension. However, an estimated payment is still due April 15th. Reporting for Com Radio, I'm Kayla Blakesley.
Today, Nebraska lawmakers passed a bill banning abortions at 20 weeks based on the assertion that fetuses feel pain at that time. Governor Dave Heineman plans to sign it into law this afternoon. If upheld by courts, the bill could change abortion laws nationwide. The bill is partially meant to shut down one of the few late-term abortion providers in the country. After the break, we'll tell you about Cafe Laura, a Penn State student-run restaurant.
That song is so cool. Yowzer the soda bottle here, along with Cruiser the car tire.
Right, listen up. Do you know I can be recycled into new products like soaker hoses?
And if you think that's cool, listen to this. I can be recycled to make T-shirts. No joke.
You might say we never get tired of recycling.
Yeah, whatever.
For information, call 1-800-346-4242. Sponsored by the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, Edward Rendell, Governor.
If you had invested $50 in a mutual fund 20 years ago, you would have gotten back $452. If you had invested $50 in the United Negro College Fund, you would have gotten back Samuel L. Jackson. By giving to the United Negro College Fund, you can make sure high school graduates get their chance to become college graduates. So please support the United Negro College Fund. To donate, call 1-800-332-UNCF. Because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. This message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Michael Galloway from Texas is facing child endangerment charges after leaving his 3-year-old and 9-month-old children in his car while he went to the strip club. Dallas police say a tow truck driver discovered an illegally parked car across the street from Pandora's Men's Club with the doors and windows locked and the children inside. Galloway claims he was inside for 20 minutes, but witnesses told police that he was drinking for at least an hour. Galloway is being held at the Dallas County Jail on bonds totaling $10,000. Today in Indiana County, jury selection begins in the beating death of a toddler. The defendant could get the death penalty. Joshua Turner is charged with beating his girlfriend's toddler to death last October because the boy would not stop crying. The 19-month-old died of head trauma in a Pittsburgh hospital. Turner first said he was carrying the toddler on his shoulders when the boy fell. He eventually acknowledged beating, shaking, punching, and biting the child. A Penn State expert on professional sports believes that Super Bowl winning quarterback Ben Roethlisberger should be treated the same as any other athlete. This comes following yesterday's announcement that Roethlisberger will not be charged with the latest sexual assault charge against him. Penn State professor Marie Harden says his superstar status should make no difference.
Certainly, Roethlisberger's status as a high-profile quarterback should not make a difference here in the way that he's dealt with by Commissioner Goodell.
Roethlisberger is scheduled to meet with Commissioner Goodell sometime this week, where he could face punishment from the league. Harden agrees with other experts that the quarterback needs to work hard to regain the trust of teammates and fans. Back in State College, there is a new restaurant in town. This month, only Cafe Laura has a different menu. Reporter Jessica Spencer has the story.
Throughout April, Penn State students of the hotel management major are required to create themed dinners and atmospheres for guests of any age. Cafe Laura is their student-run restaurant. The students have created a 300-page business plan detailing the nights of the 2 dinners. The first dinner is the midterm and the second one is the final. Stephanie Morrison is a senior and has her final dinner tomorrow night. She explains how this is the final test.
You're kind of expected to be completely on your game by now and be more comfortable with the class and more confident in your management skills.
Morrison's dinner is neighborhoods in Manhattan. The decorations and dishes are accustomed to the familiar places of New York. The dining room is broken into different sections and each one has its own special feel.
Chinatown centerpieces in one section, and then there's South Street Seaport, little ships in a bottle in one section, and then corks to represent Little Italy in another section. So just little details that the customer will notice.
Allison Brower is another senior and is finished for the semester. She says the food is highly praised.
It's the best food on campus. Some people compare it to 5-star restaurants, the quality of some of the food that comes out.
Brower encourages guests to make their reservations.
It's a nice way to go out to dinner with your friends and support all your peers. I think is the best part of it.
To make reservations, call 814-865-1853 or check out cafelaura.psu.edu. For Com Radio, I'm Jessica Spencer.
The governor of West Virginia, Joe Manchin, is asking for more examinations for mines where safety violations have occurred. This follows an explosion in a West Virginia mine that claimed 29 lives almost a week ago. Manchin says he wants to look over a state law to make sure that officials can be able to cease operations in mines which are unsafe. The mine is owned by Massey Energy, does have a history of safety violations which were contested but were unresolved. Officials believe the explosion was from methane in the upper Big Branch mine. And now for the weather from the Penn State Campus Weather Service. Tonight, the temperature will drop to a chilly 35 degrees. Tomorrow's high will be 63 and mostly sunny. That's the news for today. Our producer was Jen Lee. The assignment editor was Amanda Szymanski. The assistant producer was Maggie Soff. Our tech director was Ann Wallace. For the entire College of Communications news team, I'm Robbie Capo. Have an awesome day.
This has been a presentation of students in COM 360 at Penn State University's College of Communications.